I'm in my mid-20s and I just got married 2 months ago. My husband and I eventually want to have kids, but we want to feel more stable, traveled, and overall more adult before we take the leap into parenthood. However, my husband's younger sister recently announced her pregnancy. I was hit with two conflicting feelings. One, that I absolutely would not be ready to be in her shoes right now, and two, that I really wanted to be. At first, that feeling manifested as judgment. I felt like they weren't ready for the step. They're too young, too broke, too early in their relationship to do this. But deep down, I know I wouldn't feel or say that about a different couple. This is just plain old jealousy. Maybe it's that the attention of my in laws is now shifting from our wedding to their pregnancy, which it naturally and rightfully should. I hold such an attachment to my in laws that maybe I want them to focus on me becoming a part of their family for just a little bit longer. Maybe I just have baby fever because my own brothers are also having babies now. Or maybe I feel a void after my wedding and I'm ready for a new project. Regardless of my reason for these feelings, I feel so guilty for feeling them. I wish I could let it go and just be happy for my sister in law and her husband without thinking about myself or comparing our marriages. I want to be at peace with the choice I made to wait. How do I manage these irrational feelings of jealousy, grow up, and show up for my sister in law? No strings attached. Yours, Aching Auntie. Okay. Brian and I got married in September 2020, which was the thick of COVID, right? When everyone's events were still getting canceled or postponed. And maybe it was April or May, Brian and I had to decide what we wanted to do about our wedding. And we decided instead of postponing it, having a party later, we wanted to get married on the day we always planned to, and we wanted to do whatever we could on that day, even if it meant that none of our friends could be there, even if it meant we weren't going to have a big wedding party. And that's what it eventually meant. We got married September 12th, and there were about 18 people there, and it ended up being truly the perfect thing for us. That experience taught me a lot. That informs the way I talk about weddings. It's fueled my belief that a day is just a day in really powerful ways that I think have had a really positive impact on my life, and I hope positively impact others. I feel good about it is what I'm trying to say. And whenever I go to other people's weddings and we're watching the bride walk down the aisle, or we watch our friends exchange their vows, if that's something they do in public, and I look around and I see my other friends looking up at the couple with awe in their eyes, people crying, getting to celebrate the love of someone else they love, I still have a moment where I'm like, fuck, this would have been really nice. I want this. I want this. I'm sad I didn't get this. I can feel that. The moment always passes, I'll say. The moment always passes. And typically later on in the night, I have something else that occurs where I'm like, and this is why I'm glad that we did it our way. I say that. I share this story because you can not be ready to have a baby. You can feel good about that decision, confident in your decision, and you can still feel envious when somebody in your life is going through it and they get to have the joy of it. There's a reason that like therapists always say that two things can be true at once. Have you seen any of those? I feel like there's some funny memes or TikToks about things therapists say. And it's true. Those two feelings can exist at once. So the first thing, Aching Auntie, is I want to see you be a little more kind to yourself about this. You have not done anything wrong. You say you want to put these feelings aside and grow up, as if growing up is the thing that makes us have less intense, less contradictory feelings, but it's not. We don't get rid of our contradictions as we grow up. I think the subject matter just changes. To have contradicting feelings is to be human. And I think that the most wonderful humans are the ones who are able to see the contradictions in themselves. That's called self-awareness. Have you ever talked to somebody who lacks self-awareness? Typically, they're the ones who don't see their own contradictions. Contradictions are what make us beautiful. You can feel two things at once, Aching Auntie. You can be confident that you're not ready for a baby and that you want to experience life with your husband and grow first. And you can feel envious when your sister-in-law is having her moment. You can still be a beautiful, thoughtful person, even if you have ugly, judgmental thoughts sometimes. And I don't even think that the thoughts you shared are so bad. I'm just saying that in case there are other thoughts that you kept in the back of your mind that you didn't say to me today, or maybe you haven't said to anybody else. Those thoughts that they come and you're like, did I actually just think that? You did. The insides of our minds can be a really scary place. But remember, our character is not judged by what we feel, but what we do. These gut reactions you have, they are normal, and we cannot control them. We all have them. We all have gut reactions, gut judgments. Hopefully when we have those gut reactions, we have them in private, or we have them, we process them with a person who feels like private. So I am a person, this relationship that we have together, Hazelnuts and Hayes, I am a person that's like private. Processing with me, writing to me is like processing in private. Processing with your husband, I think, is akin to processing in private. Processing with a dear friend who's not involved in the situation, that's like processing in private. That's always a great thing to do when we have big emotions about something that's happening between us and somebody else. We all need people outside of our own bodies to process life's shit with. We all need people to share our shameful, judgmental thoughts with. It could also be a therapist. It could also be a therapist. I should throw that in there. Therapy is good. Therapy is good. So we've established now that your feelings are okay, but I do think it's a valuable next step to try to understand where these feelings are coming from, which you did a little bit of in your letter. I think it's really interesting what you said about your in-laws. You said that you hold an attachment to them and you want them to focus on your addition to the family for a little while longer. Some reflection questions on that. What's your relationship like with them? How have they welcomed you into their family? What's your relationship with your own parents like? To go back to the jealousy versus envy thing, remember, jealousy is when you're fearful that your relationship is being threatened. It's typically between three people. So in this story, it could be you, your sister-in-law, and your in-laws. We can bucket your in-laws as one. When you unpack those reflection questions and your feelings here, could that be part of what's driving your feelings? Are you somehow worried that by shifting the attention onto your sister-in-law, your in-laws are going to stop caring about you? They're going to be mean to you? Or what is that? What is it bringing up for you? Because I think that recognizing that could help you figure out what your solution is. You might be wondering, like, okay, hey, I ask those reflection questions and then what? I don't know about you guys, but sometimes just figuring out why I feel something, that feels like the last step for me. Like, that's enough. Let's say you ask yourself these questions and you're like, you know what, Hayes? I think you unlocked something. I think you unlocked something. What's happening for me is that me and my sister had a very competitive relationship, and my parents always chose my sister over me. And I always felt like I needed to be one-upping my sister. And now that my sister-in-law is pregnant and my in-laws, they're wonderful to me, but I've always felt like I needed to compete for their love. And now it's triggering those feelings from childhood. I don't know if that's your story, but if that were me, that would be comforting enough. Understanding myself and why I feel the way I feel, that gives me so much comfort in life. And I suppose if you listen to Hello Hayes and you find value here, I imagine that helps you too. That you're a person where understanding of self helps get through the tough stuff. Another thing that was interesting to me in your letter is the void after wedding planning. That was very interesting to me. I think a lot of brides feel this way. And I think that void is real. And it's a very smart thing to be aware of before you begin the wedding planning journey. If you listen to any of my mini advice columns on TikTok about weddings, I do always try to infuse the a day is just a day ethos. I think it's so important to go into weddings remembering that. But if you don't, if you go into your wedding thinking that this is the most important day, this is the most special day, I'm never going to be this loved and beautiful and special on any other day, so this one better be fucking perfect and everybody in my life better show up for me in the exact way that I want them to. And then it happens, then it's wonderful and it's amazing. Or even if it's not, there's bound to be a come down period after you've had that day that you've built up in your mind for so long as the best day ever. There's bound to be a come down period. And I'm curious, did you feel any of that on your wedding? Like, this is the most important day of my life. And I want to distinguish between this is the most important day of my life so far because it's the day that I'm marrying my partner. And this is the most important day of my life because it's the one day where it's all about me and everyone is showing me exactly how much they care about me. And I feel so loved right now, and feeling loved is addicting. Being celebrated like that is addicting. I'm getting so amped up that my camera and computer are shaking because I'm moving around so much. I think that a lot of people feel that second one. It's the most important day of my life. Not because it's the day that marks the beginning of my life with my partner, but because it's the day that everyone showed me how much they love me. The second one, that's the trap. That's the trap. And if you felt any of this, it would make sense to me that you're ready for the next moment in your life that feels similar to that, which I think for a lot of people is having a baby. Maybe you've placed some of your self-worth in how other people are celebrating you. I know a thing or two about that. When we only find our worth in the moments when we're being celebrated, we miss the whole thing, love. We miss the whole thing. We miss the whole life. We miss all of the joy in the smaller moments. And that's really something I'm trying to focus on. I'm trying to find joy in the moments before the big triumphs. I'm trying to find joy in the smaller moments when no one is applauding me, but I'm applauding me, because that's where life actually happens. That's where you're going to spend most of your days. That's what this is really about, right? We feel most loved and euphoric when people are celebrating us. And if you're on the, work, get married, have children, work, die train that so many of us are on, we we're trained to get all of our happiness from what we achieve, from what we gather. And it's really hard to get off that train. Being on it can make you desperate for the next thing, the next hit. I wonder if you want to have a baby because you want to feel that surge again. And realizing that, if that feels true for you, might help you feel less angry with yourself, because it's just about the most human, real feeling you could have. Next time you're questioning the baby thing, you're feeling jealous or envious about your sister in law being pregnant and you don't want to be pregnant, but you also kind of do, ask yourself, would I want this baby right now, even if no one gave a shit? Would I want it if nobody knew? If no one else was going to be excited except for me and my husband? That line of questioning could be a helpful way for you to separate your true desire and level of readiness to have a baby from your envy fueled desire, which can feel just as real, but it's not the reason we should have a baby. My next question for you, aching auntie, is, have you talked with your husband about how you feel? I hope you feel better after talking with me. I always feel better when I admit my freaky thoughts to somebody else that I know and trust and love and who won't judge me. But I think you might feel better if you talk to your husband too. This decision that you two made together isn't written in stone, It's a conversation. And when these feelings come up for you, I wonder if they're coming up for him too at all. Whenever I have that feeling about weddings that I mentioned before, when I go to other people's weddings and I'm like struck by, oh, you know what? Maybe I would have wanted a really big wedding. This looks nice. How nice would it be for everybody to be up there looking at me and loving us, hearing how much we love each other? A lot of this is about ego. When I tell him that, it's nice to have that conversation with him. Maybe he agrees, maybe he disagrees, but he can listen to me. He can sit with me in it. He can tell me about what he feels, and that makes me feel a lot less alone. And I wonder what your husband would say if you shared some of this with him. When you check in with him about this, I think you could also use it as an opportunity to, realign on your values that helped you make this decision in the first place. Remembering together why you're waiting, if that still feels like the right choice for the both of you. Going back to like why you made this choice, what you want to do together, what you're looking forward to as a couple without children, that could help ease some of the urges you feel about these feelings. A few more tactical things to do about these feelings. One is to, do nothing about them. These feelings are going to be feeling, and I think that if you can expect them to come, if you can just be prepared for them to come and pass, that will help you. Like when I go to weddings, I know that I'm going to feel that feeling when the bride's walking down the aisle, and I know that it's going to pass, and because of that, I don't need to do anything about it. I just know that it's going to be there, and I know it's going to I know it's going to leave. The second thing is that sometimes it feels helpful to join in on the joy, even if that feels counterintuitive. In sleepaway camp, here's an analogy. Thinking back to sleepaway camp, I don't know if any of you ever went, but I'd be in a bunk with like 20 girls. And there are some nights where I'd want to stay up late and I'd be laughing and being the annoying girl in the bunk who was keeping everybody else up. But then there were some nights when I wanted to be quiet and I was exhausted and I wanted to go to bed and I was so annoyed at the other people who were laughing. Joining in on the laughter always made me feel less annoyed. Sometimes joining in is the thing you need to do. Involving yourself in your sister-in-law's pregnancy, not even instead of stewing about it privately, but next to stewing about it privately, could help you. But it's also okay to not be around it. It's also okay to tap out of doing whatever. You don't need to go baby shopping all the time. You can steer the conversation in other directions sometimes. You can tap out whenever you need to. If you have fears about the parents and losing your relationship with them, or just you feel that your relationship with them is being threatened, be more intentional about the plans you make with them. Call your mother-in-law more. Invite them over for brunch. Build the relationship with them on the side. Show yourself that you can feel the love and inclusion even when you're not having a major milestone. And also feel free to keep like shitting on them in a journal. Not that you're shitting on them, but like it's okay to get the gunk out. It's okay to get the gunk out, and a journal is a safe place to do that. A therapist, a trusted friend who's not involved in the situation like myself. It's okay to get the gunk out. My final 2 cents, for what it's worth, I think it's wise that you are waiting to have a baby until you feel ready and that you're really being thoughtful about what it means to be ready for you and for your husband. Sit with this for a while. Get to know this side of yourself, this beautiful, contradictory one. Once you accept her and love her and realize that her contradictions are actually what make her an authentic human, I think more of your decisions will start to feel like the right ones.